Scratch and Sniff.
Jigsaw Townsend was cruelly betrayed. He'd been seeing Samantha Joseph for just 6 weeks, but she was also in another relationship. When that boy found out she was two-timing him, he dumped her. She would do anything to get him back and agreed to set up Jigsaw for a beating.
Are you gonna see him again? Because if you do, I'll slice your face open.
Layla, you okay?
Do you want to kiss me?
You're gonna set him up for us and make that phone call, yeah?
No.
No.
An independent British film based on true events called Honeytrap has just been released at selected cinemas and already has received a 4-star review from The Guardian. It tells a 15-year-old Layla, who sets up the boy in love with her, to be killed. Not for the faint-hearted perhaps, but a powerful film with powerful performances from a mainly young cast. We spoke to Paul Joseph, the associate producer. How did you get involved in Honeytrap?
I got involved in Honeytrap through the producer Sarah Sulik, who used to be a tutor of mine when I was studying for my MA in screenwriting and producing, and she's been involved in Honeytrap for just over 3 years. The writer-director Rebecca Johnson sent the script to her a few years ago, and then it all went on from there.
Tell us a little bit about the film. It's quite a harrowing one, quite a challenging film.
It's a film about gang culture from a female perspective, which is quite rarely seen for a British film. The basic premise is about a girl who sets up a guy who's in love with her to be killed. But it's a lot more complex than that. It really looks at how young people get involved in gangs, gang violence, and particularly how girls and women have to find their place in that kind of world and the things that they have to do and the kind of pressures they're under. It's very much a character piece. It's got a fantastic lead performance from Jessica Sula, who's a actress who's previously in Skins.
Yes, indeed. It's
very rare to have a film where the main character is a 15-year-old girl and she's in every single scene. So Jessica carries a massive weight on her shoulders throughout the film and does a fantastic job.
I've heard it's a very layered performance, and what I've seen from the trailers and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, she has to go from being the point of a very kind of naive, innocent girl who's just arrived in London from having been living in Trinidad for 10 years.
She joins her mother in London.
Yeah, she comes back to her mum in London.
Look at you, all grown. You're in here. I'll let you get sorted.
Thanks, Mum.
Hey, we'll get used to each other.
Her mum has her own issues going on and maybe isn't the maternal figure that Layla, the lead character, needs at that time. You know, it's just about how Layla has to find some sort of sense of belonging and the crowd she falls in, and she very quickly becomes a sort of a player in this kind of game that's going on, and she, you know, the things that she has to do for love, the things that she has to do to impress people.
You think you're too good for this, don't you? No. You probably think you're going to be like Beyonce or something, don't you? Oh, Layla, wake up, or life is going to slap you down, I'm telling you.
And the pressures people put under and the way that people take advantage of her, really. She's both the innocent, naive girl right through to the, you know, the honey trap itself, which is the girl who does ultimately commits a crime. But
and this is based on a true story, yeah.
It's inspired by a true story of a girl in South London who set up a guy to be attacked by another group of guys.
I think I remember hearing about that.
Yeah,
actually.
it was in the press, and I mean, I think the interesting thing about this is everyone remembers the girl and the fact that it was a girl that did this, and you know how a female in this situation will very quickly become demonised when actually, although she had her significant part, she played in it. The headlines are about the girl, not the actual guys who committed the crime. But you know was a tragic case, a real life case, and it was seen as a kind of departure point for this piece. So kind of looking at how a girl like that could have got into the situation that she got into, but looking at a fictional set of circumstances for Honeytrap.
Do you feel it's a natural successor to Noel Clarke's Kidulthood?
I think, you know, it fits really well in the British urban film genre. I think looking at films like that, what this film offers is a female perspective, which isn't often seen in these films, and certainly isn't. These films don't look at a female perspective as from the perspective of the main character. It offers something new in that genre, really.
So let's talk about the cast again. You mentioned Jessica Sula, of course, who was in Skins, Love and Marriage. Naomi Ryan. Let's go through them to talk about their previous, as it were.
Naomi's, she's a fantastic actress, and she's done various different roles in TV over the years. And, she was, compared to a very young cast, she was playing the mother character in it, so she was someone who brought a lot more experience to the role.
I mean, obviously, a lot of this is new talent. It's very much singing out what the UK has to offer in the film industry.
I mean, we've got three fantastic young leads. We've got Jessica Sula, Lucian Laviscan, and Tonga Mwanza. They're all really young people. They made the film 2 years ago. And they're definitely cutting-edge British talent. Jessica is currently filming the lead for a new ABC family drama in the States called Recovery Road.
Fantastic.
So, that's really great. And Lucian is in the States as well, filming Scream Queens, which is the new Fox show from Ryan Murphy. So lots of young people in this film who are all going to be very big names.
Destined for big success. Excellent stuff. Talk of the harrowing side of this film. Obviously, there's a murder that's committed. I mean, do we have light as well as shade in it? Is it a film that can be enjoyed by a general audience?
The film follows the story of a 15-year-old girl and some of the things she goes through and some of the challenges she faces and making friendships. So, she does get in with a group of kids at school, and there is a sort of joyfulness and playfulness as she starts to become a bit more experienced in the world and build up a gang of fans and friends and kind of find herself. So it's not all dark, but things do turn dark.
My Trini princess.
It's Trini princess. I want to be something.
You can be part of my plans.
Really?
So obviously it's allowing for new talent, both sides of the camera, and also low budget. I guess we seem to do better with that. It requires more imagination and stronger scripts, etc. Let's talk about the funding of it. How was that all put together?
The writer-director, Rebecca Johnson, she's been making short films in Brixton with young people for several years now. And this and her last short film, Top Girl, won lots of awards and really got her a name. And then this film was a kind of extension of that, where she kind of was ready to move on to a feature film. And the finance for it came from various different sources. Being a producer of independent film in the UK now, you have to be very resourceful to get a film made. We ran a crowdfunding campaign. We actually ended up running two crowdfunding campaigns, one which got us financed pre-production, and then one that got some more completion funding once the film had been shot. Various grants and different trusts funded the project. We did some work on the film with young people, where we trained and mentored lots of young people from the Brixton area in filmmaking. So we did get some funding for that. The producer, Sarah, she pre-sold the film to our distributor, Anchor Bay, and then it was various other parts of private finance and different things like that. And the BFI put some money forward as well. So it's lots of different things put together, but still a very, very low budget film. I mean, when you look at I won't talk figures, but compared to other films that would present themselves as being independent films, but it's a very, very low budget film. And I think we've done a really good job of making it look a much higher value than it is. Part of that is the massive goodwill towards Rebecca for the work she's done working with young people in film in Brixton over the years. We had a lot of support from the local community in terms of different locations to film. So really, there was a lot of value added to the production by the experience, and also lots of great people, doing it because under circumstances they probably wouldn't normally work under, but because they really liked the script, they could really see Rebecca's vision, and they could really see it was a project worth getting behind. And when it now gets to the point like last week where we're getting 4 stars in The Guardian in our review from Peter Bradshaw, then you can see that they've made a good bet with that, really. So
clearly a lot of love in the room. Do you see further opportunities for films like this? Do you think this might ignite, more imaginative or urban scripts and things that we're better at in the UK? Very sort of underdog films, I would say.
I think it's definitely paving the way for character-led drama and films by female writer-directors who are really underrepresented. So I definitely think young people and female writer-directors will be very inspired by the work Rebecca's done, and hopefully, go out and do their own work because of it.
So what's your general sort of view of the UK film industry then, and the lack of funding and the fact that a certain political party have just got in? What's your take on it and your view on the future?
I think the UK has a good film industry in terms of money put into filming here that happens. There's lots of productions that get made in the UK, giving lots of work to British filmmakers. However, for sort of British creatives starting off, it can always be very difficult. It's a very crowded market. And if you've not got a known name, whether that be in terms of writing, directing, or the talent in front of the character, it can be very hard to raise funds. And the knock-on effect of anything is there's cuts everywhere. People don't have as much money as they did. So that's both in terms of public funding and in terms of private funding as well. It's a lot harder, which takes a really resourceful producer. So someone like Sarah Sulik, who made Honeytrap, you do really need that approach now to kind of look at the bigger picture and look at the different ways that you can source funding for a film.
Well, this sounds like the pre-production was like a well-oiled machine before you'd even started filming. That clearly had to happen in order for everything to run reasonably smoothly.
Yeah. With these things, it's always getting the finance in place and obviously making sure you've got enough funding to get you through the shoot. And then at times you don't necessarily then have finance afterwards to complete it. So, the kind of work in terms of raising revenue for the film was happening well after the shooting period.
What would you say to people who are listening to this and would love to get involved in filmmaking, have a passion, but they're a little bit directionless in terms of, how do I physically get on it? Where would they go to look?
It really depends what they're interested in. If they're the more creative side, obviously I'd always encourage people, to start making their own films, writing their own films. You can do work now and you can kind of make short films on small budgets. People make films on their phones and that kind of thing now. People wanting to get into production, obviously, creative skill set, places like that, there are lots of schemes to get people on them. And then you can't really beat work experience, really, kind of, approaching people who are in the industry, seeing if you can get some advice, see if you can get some tips and see if you can kind of do some work on some different productions.
So what's your next project then?
Good question. I'm still working with Sarah, the producer. She's working on several other films at the moment. There's a film of hers, Time of Their Lives, which is going to be starring Joan Collins and Pauline Collins, which should be...
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah, it's a female road trip movie. It's kind of like a Thelma and Louise for a slightly older generation. And that's being put together now, and that should be going before the cameras kind of late summer, early autumn time. So
that sounds absolutely...
We've still got so much more work to do on Honeytrap, really, because although it's doing well in the UK, we've got a release here. We've got a DVD release on the 25th of May. We're still working on where it's going to go globally. So we're doing lots of applications for different film festivals. We got into the London Film Festival. We got into South by Southwest Film Festival. So it's now trying to get into more territories and get the film out there, really. So it's an ongoing thing.
I mean, isn't it the case that if you just strike gold with the right script, the right energy, a lot of love in the room, it can go global, and then you've got a massive success on your hands for like a fraction of the cost that you would for one of these Hollywood blockbusters. It's happened before.
Yeah, and that would be amazing. It does sometimes take a leap of faith from someone at some point, and when you're selling a film to different territories, they're always looking at the box office and the money that they can make from it. But the great thing is the better this film does here, then the more that shows how well it can do overseas. And obviously, particularly the fact that we've got two of the leads who are filming big shows in the States at the moment means that hopefully it will get more recognition there further down the line.
So where are they actually screening this, Paul? Presumably cinemas up and down the country? Or?
Yeah, so we are opening week at the moment, and the screenings are in London. We're at the Hackney Picture House, Stratford Picture House, Ritzy, Peck&Plex, Rich Mix, so various cinemas across London. And then we've got some more out-of-London screenings coming up in the next month. So we've got a screening in Brighton. We don't have much booked in across the UK at the moment, and we're going to be having our DVD release on the 25th of May, so in 2 weeks' time. So those people who aren't in London are probably better catching it on DVD. But of course, we'd love to have more screenings outside of London as well.
And who knows, if the whole thing goes global, we might have another release.
Yeah, definitely, that'd be great.
Two final questions. One, what was the red carpet event like, or your opening premiere? Or where was it? Because I did read a little bit on Facebook.
We actually didn't have a premiere as such.
Or how about a red mat?
Yeah, I mean, probably our first public screening was at the London Film Festival last October, which was fantastic. And what was great about that was it was hosted at the Ritzy Cinema in Brixton, which obviously for a film that was shot entirely in Brixton, that was
Perfect.
great to have that there. So, and we had our cast and crew screening before that as well, and so that was really great to get together with people who've been involved, and then just going to various screenings since then. So, but there's
a lot of champagne. Very finally on this, you have a 1 minute sale for Honeytrap. So what do you want to say? Starting now.
Okay, so I'd say Honeytrap is a very original piece. It's from a very exciting female writer-director, Rebecca Johnson. It's her first feature, and it tells a very captivating, very interesting, and very moving story that's entirely from a female perspective, a rarely seen female perspective on gang culture in the UK. It's a very good character piece which features a fantastic lead performance from Jessica Sula, a young actress who we're going to be seeing big things from. So I suggest people catch it as soon as they can, and they will be very moved by it. It's a very powerful film.
Well, Joseph, thanks a lot.
Thank you.